All right, guys, today I am showing you how to make a purse. So a purse you guys all voted for. I tried to pick some that were cute. I don't know. So I tried to pick some that were maybe y'all were interested in. So this was the winner. And I will be doing this purse, showing you how to model this purse here. So I want to first get into what exactly it takes to make this. So pretty simple. You gotta think about all your shapes that you have in Blender here. So and just try to break it down. So that's what I will be pretty much doing. Hopefully it's not a too long of a video and I don't ramble on. But yeah, so you pretty much just break down everything. So for example, this I will use the plane. The whole bag I will use the square. This I will use square in a maybe the sphere, so pretty much that's how you model. Just break things apart and um remember all your shapes that you have in Blender pretty much. So all this mesh stuff, you can simply build that. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw in one of the photos here. I'm trying to get a straight photo, if you can. I'll put this in Discord. So we're gonna start off with these because the straps, they're pretty simple. I'm not gonna waste my time going over too much of the straps part. But if we can get a good base, you could build upon the straps. And just remember, there are generators that help you with building this right here. So I'm not going to get too technical on making these from scratch when you got a lot of generators that do these for you. Okay. Generators that do the zipper part. So I will be providing you guys the zipper generator that I brought. It was pretty cheap. It was only $5, so I don't mind giving that out. It also works with versions 3.5 and up, so don't have to worry about that. All right, so first we'll start with throwing this picture in. Try to get one as straight as possible. So I'm just gonna use this and just throw it in here. Make sure you're on your one view here. So when I say one view, you're gonna hit the number 1 on your keyboard or your keypad or numpad. All right, so you hit 1, numpad 1. All right, so we're gonna start with building the base. So I would use the square. If you don't have the square in, just shift A, mesh, and then cube. All right, so I'm gonna start with also putting it on X-ray toggle so that you can see what you're doing. Yeah, so X-ray toggle. Get in your one view, and we're just gonna build the base of the actual purse here. So once you select your box, you're gonna go into edit mode or press tab, and then you're just gonna grab or hit A, G, and then Z to move it up, or you can just move it instead of hitting Z, hit G and then move it. All right, so we want to go ahead and just stretch this out, make it as big as the box. So I hit S to scale it out. Then I'm going to hit G and Z to move it up. So put it to right about there. And then I'm going to use these bottom vertices here. So select the bottom vertices. Make sure this move tool is on. And I'm just going to move it down. All right. So in order to get like that shape, we're not going to go and hit our subdivision surface yet. We're just going to go ahead and hit S, scale it in, probably move it up. All right, then we're going to do the same thing here. Scale it in. And pretty much what we're going to do, we're going to add in some loop cuts so that we can get the shape of this to go correct. If you want, there's different ways of doing this. So, I mean, you can scale it more out like this and then start like this. But either way, you're gonna have to add loop cuts because it's not a perfect square, you know. So loop cuts, Control R, put it here, right click, Control R, you can put it here and right click. Or if you don't want to do loop cuts, you can also go to edge and subdivide. Okay, so it adds in more loop cuts. So from here, I would just model it, stretch it out using the scale key. If you need more loop cuts, add them in. All right, so just add as many loop cuts you feel is necessary. All right, so now you have a box like this. So we're gonna hit all, A for all, scale it in on the Y axis because we don't need a super huge bag like that. So now that you have all these loop cuts and more vertices in, now you can hit your modifiers, add modifiers, subdivision surface, and it will give you more of a cleaner edges and everything. So I'm gonna turn off this X-ray toggle just to see what I have. And I think this is pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it up to level 2. And I think that is cool. So I'm just gonna go into object mode and then apply this modifier. So you can hit apply from here, or you can click and hit convert to mesh. All right, and then we're gonna smooth this out, shade smooth, or you can shade auto shade smooth. Sometimes one works better than the other, so it doesn't matter. But that's pretty much it. So if you want to like get a different view, like a visual, I like to put on a mocap. My favorite one is this one. There's a little shine to it. Um, you can also do flat, whatever you like. All right, so you can do whatever you like at that point. All right, so we have our base. You can organize your stuff like this, changing the names of stuff. So now we have our base. What we want to go ahead and do, I'm just going to hide this to see what I'm looking like without it. Pretty cool. Just going to leave it like that. So now that we have our base, we want to see what we can work on now. So it's up to you what you want to work on. We can work on the phone. So we'll work on the phone right now. It's pretty simple. We'll get that out the way. All right, so we have this phone holder. Obviously, you can put it as a cylinder. This, you want to put the phone into pieces. So I would use a sphere for the ear in the bottom, and then like a square for this, and then mold it in. So for that, let's go ahead and make that. So I'm going to do Shift A. We'll start with the earbuds and the mouthpiece. So I'm going to use a sphere. I'm going to pull it out a bit so I can see what I'm doing. I am going to go into edit mode. All right, so I actually want this center parts from the top to bottom to be the other way. So I'm going to rotate. So hit R, 90 degrees. Make sure you're in the one view. I wasn't in one view. So 1, rotate, X, 90 degrees. So that is like this. All right, so now I'm going to hit 1 on my numpad and then 3. And then I am going to go into the X-ray toggle here. See this center here? I'm not going to grab the center, but I'm going to grab one side. And then I'm going to push it in a little bit. So maybe there. And then I'm going to hit the S key and scale it on the Y axis. Then I'm going to bring it in more. So this is going to be the back piece. This part is going to be covered from the handle part right here, so it doesn't matter. Now I'm going to do the other side as well. So 1, 3. I'm not going to grab the center. I'm going to grab just the opposite side. And I'm going to move it in. I'm going to hit S and Y. And I'm going to make this a little bit deeper, or SY. Make it a little bit deeper, like it's going in. Like that. All right. And then I'm just going to move it in. Just like that. I could possibly try to go out just a bit here. All right, so I'm not going to do too much to go in. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like this. Now what I want to do is select all vertices, and I want to duplicate this because we have 2 parts to this. So I'm going to hit, and bring this out a bit. So I'm going to hit A, Shift D, Z, and bring it up. All right, so I brought it up a bit. And what I want to do is put in a box, like a box to make the handle here. So I'm going to get in my one view. I'm going to click off in this area, hit Shift A. I'm going to do cube. I'm going to hit S to scale the cube on the X axis. Just a bit like that. I'm going to hit S, scale it on the Z axis to make it longer. I'm going to hit S on the Y to scale it in. And I'm going to bring it back. All right, so I could probably bring this one down a bit. So you decide how long or big you want your phone. So I probably want it here, scale on the Z a bit. All right, so I want it like this. So once you have your box in like this, you're gonna subdivide this. You want as many vertices as you want for this because we're gonna manipulate it to make it more phone-like if possible. I'm gonna turn off the X-ray toggle because I don't need it right now. And I'm gonna scale this in just a bit. All right, and I'm just gonna scale it on the X just a bit. Leave it there. All right, then I'm gonna subdivide. So hit edge, subdivide, and you can use the menu to subdivide a little bit more. I think 3 is fine for me. All right, and then I'm gonna add on a modifier, but it's not separated, so you don't want to add on a modifier yet, because if you do, it might mess up your headphones here in the mouthpiece. So subdivide. It depends. I mean, that looks good. It's not too bad. So I'm gonna leave it like that, actually. All right. So what I want to do, because I want these to go in, I'm gonna try something really quick. All right, so I don't want to manipulate this too, so I'm gonna separate the handle part. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit L for this one, hit P, separate by selection, go to object mode, and then we're gonna go back into this here. Let's go ahead and shade smooth our stuff. All right, so shade smooth. So I want this to be like a little in, like how it goes in like that. I'm gonna scale this on an X a bit. I'm going to go into scope mode, and this is where I can manipulate the vertices. So I'm going to go into my grab tool. I'm going to hit F to make it wider. I'm going to select that and kind of like push it in just a bit. Same for the bottom. Just so that it could look a little natural when you're doing it. All right, so I think that's pretty good. All right, so I'm just gonna apply my subdivision surface, and I'm gonna go back out. I'm just gonna join these two. All right, so we have the phone, so you can always scale it down, make it smaller. And there's your phone. All right, so I'm gonna bring back in, oh, let me apply this, the base. And as you can see, the phone is actually should be into this cup holder. So I'm gonna also label this phone. I'm gonna use a cylinder, Shift A, mesh, cylinder. I'm gonna bring in the base. I'm gonna scale it down. I'm going to go into X-ray toggle mode. And if you can't see, just do it in a way that you can see. I can see mine, so I'm not too concerned. Scale it on an X. Move it here. Bring back the base. Turn off X-ray. Gonna scale it on a Y. And then I'm gonna take off the top and the bottom of this. Going into face select, deleting the faces from the top and bottom. All right, then I'm actually gonna add in a solidifier on this. So I'm gonna shade this smooth, add in a solidifier, just so it can get more solidified. Make sure you don't, when you adding your solidifiers on objects, do not solidify your stuff yet, because we actually have to UV this stuff. You can UV as you go, doesn't matter. I'm gonna add in a subdivision surface, see if it makes it look a little better. A lot of times the subdivision surface look better on top than the bottom. I'm just gonna use solidify. So I'm gonna take this, bring it here, and make sure this is in a purse. And I'm gonna rotate it. I'm gonna put this in, rotate it, make it bigger, and put it right in where it should be. I'm gonna make this smaller, bring it over. All right, so that's pretty much how we do the phone. Um, you can do this cord piece if you like. I'm not gonna get into this. I would just recommend using your Bezier curves, things like that. Bezier curve. You can also use things like your draw tool um, to make things. Doesn't matter. Um, so now we have that. What we can do is see phone holder. Next, just gonna hide our stuff. See what else we can do from this point. So we got that. I say we can make the handle up here. It's pretty simple. So to make the handle, we're gonna bring in our base. We're gonna hide this picture. Obviously, we know how to. It's not gonna be that hard. So we got our base. The handle is actually towards the back because the zipper is towards the front or middle right here. So getting your one view, I'm gonna add a plane, Shift A, mesh, plane. I'm gonna bring this plane up. I'm gonna scale it on X to make it small. Then I'm gonna go into edit mode. I'm gonna scale on the Y. Depends on how thick you want that part to be, but I need to account for the actual zipper too. So I'm gonna make it like this. All right, so just make sure it's in the center. I'm gonna bring it up. All right, then I'm gonna add in a loop cut. So I'm gonna add in one loop cut, Control R, make it down the center like this. I'm gonna hit 1. I'm gonna go in X-ray mode here. I'm gonna go into vertices select here. And then I'm gonna select the ones on the end. I'm gonna hit E to extrude. And keep extruding until you feel like you have it where you want it to be. Now remember, it does curve a bit. For the hooks. You can mirror this if you like, doesn't matter, but I'm not gonna mirror it. I'm gonna just do it free-handed. All right, so what I want to do is hit A. I'm gonna subdivide this. I'm gonna add a solidifier and a subdivisions surface because I want it to be thick. So I'm gonna crank up the thickness to maybe 5. I'm gonna turn off this X-ray just so I can see what I'm doing. All right, then solidify. I'm gonna crank it up to 2. And this is where you can manipulate the vertices if you want. If you need to add in more or less. All right, so all I'm doing is just manipulating them to the best of my liking. All right, then I'm gonna go into object mode, shade smooth. It's not perfect, but it's there. All right, if you need to make it smaller, just scale it on the x-axis pretty much. I'm gonna bring it up. Scale it on the Y a bit. All right, then you do it to your liking, okay? It's a bag, it doesn't have to be perfect. You want to make it look natural and real. So now that we have that part, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have now. So it's pretty much coming along. Next, what we want to do It's pretty much this stuff right here. Um, this you can get from doing texturing if you want, with the numbers on them too. It's up to you. Um, yeah, there's many ways you can do this as well. But what I'm gonna do for the hearts, I believe I'm just gonna add in a to make it easier. So I use Trace Master for some stuff to make it easier on me for certain shapes that aren't too hard to, that's kind of, I don't feel like doing, but I'm gonna do the heart. So I'm gonna import a picture I will provide in Discord too. So I'm gonna use one of this. Just make sure if you're using one or if you're tracing something, make sure it has the white background. So it's right here. All I'm going to do is select it and then do filled and trace image, and you have it right here. This is using Trace Master. You can find any of these on the Blender Marketplace. So to make these hearts right here, I'm just going to put them on a bag. So I'm going to select it, rotate on X 90 degrees. I'm going to bring it back pretty much in front of the bag. I'm going to go into my X-ray toggle, bring in the picture again so I can see where it's at. Doesn't have to be exact where the picture is. All right, so I want to make duplicates of this, but I want them to be on the same like object. So I'm going to go into edit mode, select A. I'm going to first, because there's so many vertices on here, I'm going to first go into mesh, clean up, limit dissolve. All right, sometimes it do it, sometimes it don't, but if it don't, just keep going. Shift A, I'm sorry, select all with A, Shift D to duplicate, hit X, then move it over. You can hit all, Shift D to duplicate, hit X, and move it over. All right, so you have your four hearts, which will be the hearts, the purple hearts in the background. So I'm going to select all, push them back, and if you want, you can make it more geometric by hitting E and then moving them out like this. So we also have to do the hearts coming out. So what I would do is hit A, Shift D, Y, bring it out. You can keep this on the same object or you can separate it by hit P by selection. I'm going to separate them because one of the hearts in the front are really round. So I'm going to hit P by selection, go to object mode, and it should be selected from the front. So I'm going to work with the back first. I'm going to take off this X-ray toggle so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to put them here. I'm going to shade smooth them. You see how I say sometimes it works depending on which one you have. If it looks like that when you shade smooth it, you just have to go in and fix the geometry on it. But if you want, just do shade auto smooth and it kind of fixes it like that. So these are going to be bubble hearts. So what I would do is actually put on a subdivision surface. And when it gets like that, you just have to go in to edit mode and then fix the geometry. So shift Control R. I'm just going to center it on the center. On all of them. All right, so I want to make them to like bubble like. So I'm gonna hit A, scale on the Y. All right, so you see how it's like cracking right here. In order to fix that, like I said, you have to play around with the geometry so you don't get that. So I added in another loop cut. I'm gonna take this first line. I'm gonna hit I to insect it. You see how it's now going? I don't care about this back because it's not gonna be showing. So I'm gonna do the same thing for all of them. So I'm gonna add in another one. Select the first line, hit I. All right, so it's your preference, however you want to do it. Now just remember we have not even see how smooth it is. Then I'm gonna shade smooth. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna go into edit mode because I need to make them smaller. Hit 1. So I'm gonna do them one at a time. All right, so that's pretty much how I would do that part right there. If you like, you can go ahead and add your colors to it just to see how it would look or what you're working with. Because I know sometimes just sitting here looking at all this white or this color like this, it can be confusing. So you can just throw in like some color to stuff if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Remember to save your stuff because Blender does act crazy sometimes. So I'm just going to put some color to it. All right, so now that we have pretty much, let's hide this right here. So we're coming along, coming along. So now what we can do here, let's see what we can start next. If you want, we can do the numbers, the dial pad here, and the messages part right here. All right, so we're gonna start with doing the numbers here. All right, so there's two ways that I like to do. You can either use the Boolean, making square cuts inside of it, or just going into your edit mode select and adding in squares itself. I'm gonna try this while I have it on while I'm recording. The Boolean, I tried the other way, it works. But let's just do the Boolean one here, which will probably just be easier for you guys. So what I'm gonna do is hit Shift A, mesh, cube. I'm gonna hit this X-ray toggle. But in order to do that, you have to be in this mode. Okay, X-ray toggle. So hit the cube, scale it down, and make sure you're in your one view. All right, so you scale it as small as you want or need to. I'm just gonna bring this back out a bit just so I can see. I'm gonna scale it down more. So I think this is good. So what I'm gonna do here is pretty much go back to X-ray toggle, get in my one view. I'm gonna take that cube and duplicate it. So when you're duplicating and hit Shift D, do not move it around like this. Just go ahead and put X so you can move it over. You're gonna do the same thing, Shift D, X, and move it over. So now you got all three. So I'm gonna select all three, Shift D, Z, and move it up. Shift D, Z, move it up to the next ones. Shift D, Z, move it up. All right, so we're gonna see how this looks here. And as you can see, we got squares. And that's pretty much the placement I want to put them at. All right, so now Boolean. So in order to use the Boolean, and what the Boolean does, it makes holes in your object. So this is the perfect place where I want to make the holes anyway. So when we're done with the Boolean, do not delete your squares. So I'm gonna join all these squares here. So they're one object. Okay. We don't have to put no subdivision surface on it, nothing, none of that. Okay. So now what I want to do is make it a little bit bigger because my squares are going to be a little bit smaller. All right, so in order to use the Boolean, you're going to select the object that you want to cut holes in first. So you're going to select the base first. You're going to add a modifier, the Boolean modifier. For the object, you're going to select the squares. So after you apply this squares, you're going to hit apply. And if you move the squares, you're going to see that it cut holes in it. All right, so we're going to move the squares back because we don't want to really change the position. All right, and we're just going to scale it a little bit down. We might end up having to go in to push them in, but that's fine. So now we want to go ahead and add in a subdivision surface on the squares. All right, so you see they're like this. We pretty much have to go into edit mode and apply loop cut. So this might be the tedious part, the most tedious part. To make it faster, I choose the loop cut and I'll apply from top to bottom on each one. Now keep in mind, this is not the only way to do this. I'm showing you a way that I know, I'm familiar with. There's plenty of other ways to do this, okay? So I'm just gonna crank up the subdivision on them. And then I'm gonna go back into the move tool. I'm gonna select them one at a time. Probably scale them up then. Scale them back up. Because I want them to be kind of big to fill the hole. But not necessarily. All right, I'm gonna hit shade smooth. I'm gonna change a color on this one. Let's do like a light blue. So you might end up having to go into some and then just adjusting them. All right, so we pretty much got our buttons now. So I'm just gonna save this so nothing messes up. All right, gonna hide the picture. Purse is pretty much coming along, you guys. So hopefully you're getting more good at making this. Okay. All right, so next we have these right here. So we're pretty much going to do the same thing. We're going to make the shape, put a boolean on it, and then bring it out to make it pop out. If you don't want it like this, you can skip the part we just did and just probably just put on this part right here. But I like to do it like that because it gives it a cool effect to it. So for this part right here, we can pretty much use a circle, the sphere we used. I feel like that would work. So let's go ahead and try that. So I'm going to do Shift A. I'm going to use circle. I'm sorry, not circle. I'm going to use a sphere. I'm going to bring it out over here so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go into edit mode. One view. I want to rotate it on this time on the y-axis, 90 degrees. I'm going to my X-ray toggle mode. I'm going to get rid of half of this. Vertices. I'm pretty much just going to close this off. So I'm going to Alt, click this, hit F, close it off, and then I'm going to drag it out. Guys, that's pretty much it. You got to just try to not complicate everything. Yeah, just try to not complicate everything. I literally just made a little what we need to make here, like a little bullet. So I'm gonna hit all, scale it down. I'm probably gonna make it a little narrower. So scaling on the z-axis. Gonna bring it forward. Scale it on y. Scale it on the z. Scale it on the y. Scale it on the x. All right, so that's pretty much it. And I'm just gonna find a perfect placement for this here. I'm gonna make sure it sits correctly here. Probably gonna scale it down a bit. I probably need one of these too. Okay, not gonna worry about that. So what I'm gonna do is get in my one view, Shift D, X or Z, Shift D, Z, and there's only 3. So I'm gonna select all, bring it up a bit. So remember, like I said, you don't have to do the boolean. You can put it, just leave it on here like this. You don't really have to overcomplicate it. I'm gonna go back in object mode. I'm gonna shade smooth. I'm gonna move this a bit. That's why sometimes I don't like putting on a color, because you can't really see exactly if your stuff is correct or not. But all right, so I am going to go back into here. I'm going to push these in a bit. Set origin to geometry. If you want, you can leave it like that. You don't have to do the Boolean. I did not put on a subdivision surface. I think it looks fine like this, but if you want, you can put it on, but just remember, it will mess up that ending part. All you have to do is go into edit mode, add in a loop cut, and push it out. Not necessary for me. I'm going to leave it like this. Okay. So I am going to leave it like this here. Guys, we're almost done with our modeling. Next few things we have to do is texture it. So I'm not gonna try to keep the tutorial pretty much long. I'm just not gonna do the actual like this part. If you want to do this part, I'm just gonna tell you, all you have to do the plane how we did this part up here. You do the same thing, add in your solidify modifier. You construct it like this. If you want it to be a shoulder bag, there are generators that gives you belt loops. Use them. I believe I provided some in Discord or in our course. If not, I'll do it. So the next part we want to get through. So pretty much what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a plane, and we're gonna take one of the hearts and Boolean it, because this is actually a see-through thing right here. So use a plane, shape it to this, add a solidify modifier to make it thicker, or just remember, solidify modifiers, all it is you extruding. It's an extrusion. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna hit A, shift A, mesh, plane, bring it up, rotate on the X 90 degrees. I'm gonna bring it forward here. I'm gonna scale it down. Go on my one view. I'm gonna bring it up to probably about here. I'm gonna scale it on the X, make it a little wider. All right. So it has like this thing that goes up. So I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna hit 1. I'm gonna go into my edit mode. I'm gonna go into the X-ray toggle mode. I'm gonna bring these two. I'm gonna hit E, X, bring it up. So you can pretty much bring it in here with the S. I'm gonna add in another loop cut. And just play around with how I want this to be. All right, so I would just add in more loop cuts here, because remember, if once you apply that subdivision surface on, it's gonna mess it up. So I like to go like this. So I'm gonna hit all, apply a subdivision surface. All right, so it's not pretty too much straight, so I'm just gonna apply loop cuts just where I can. All right, so that looks good. And all I'm gonna do is apply on a solidify modifier. Just remember solidify modifier. Oh, applied onto. It's pretty much a extrusion. All right, gonna go back into edit mode. I'm gonna take these top ones and try to like move it back. All right, I'm gonna take one of these hearts that we already have. I actually have to do 2 hearts. So I'm gonna go back into that. Do not apply any of your modifiers just yet, okay? Like I said, do not do that just yet. All right, so I am going to actually go ahead and go to edit mode, select all, UV unwrap, because we're gonna have to apply that Boolean on. So I'm gonna bring in UV editor. Okay. All right, so that's done. I'm gonna take one of these hearts back here. So I'm gonna go to edit mode. So I don't have to do another heart. I'm gonna select one of the hearts, Control Shift D, bring it out, P, selection. All right, I'm gonna go back into object mode, select the heart that's by itself, set origin to geometry, Shift D, because I need another one anyways. I'm gonna push that off to the side. So we're gonna use this one. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna make it bigger. We're gonna shade smooth it. I think I want to put a modifier on it because of the shape. It's a bit wide. Or I can possibly do SX. Okay, yeah, I can do that. But I want to put a subdivision on it. I'm not gonna do that. Let's just do it like that. And we're gonna make it insect into this here. I'm gonna scale it on a Y to make it wider because I want it to insect all the way through. So scale it down, put it to where you want it to be. And that's pretty much how I want it. So Boolean, select the object that you want to cut. I'm going to apply the modifier, so convert to mesh. I'm going to add in the Boolean. I'm going to select my heart. Now it may crack like that. Let me just apply. So if it cracks, just do another shade smooth a different way. So you might end up having to go in and fixing it. All right, so we have that like that. So this other heart for the keychain, I need to save it to off to the side. And I'm gonna save this really quick. All right, so we're pretty much almost done. So like I said, there is a generator for the actual zipper part. Okay, we're gonna do those there. Um, we're gonna get into doing a lot of the texturing and the stitching. The stitching is really needed. All right, so for the zipper part, I'm gonna go ahead and hide this part right here. We don't need to reference anything for the zipper part. So, pretty much for the zipper part, all we need to do is get our generator. The generator is, and it's gonna be the Workman 3D. Zipper tools. So what you need to do is select the part you want the zipper to go on. So I'm gonna go on this one because we're doing a base. I'm gonna hit add zipper. When you add the zipper, you wanna make sure that your snap tool is on. So I'm gonna hit the snap tool, bring down the snap settings. I'm gonna do face, nearest or face project. So now you wanna get into a view that's more comfortable for you. I'm gonna hit the draw tool and I'm gonna draw a line there. All right, so on the top here. So don't try to go all the way down because it's gonna just look crazy. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna hit the draw tool, add zipper, I'm sorry, add zipper, the draw tool. I'm gonna do 1 and then 7 just to do it like that. And I'm just gonna go all the way across. Doesn't have to be straight, you can straighten it how you want. So I'm gonna go into zipper scale and put it at whatever floats your boat. I'm actually gonna change the zipper, reverse the zipper. So you can start any way you want. So I have the top. I probably want to make it bigger, probably 80. Because the purse is big. So you've got to make it, you know. I don't know how big it can go. All right, so what you would do now is go into your move tool and this is pretty much a curve. So you can rotate it, fix it up, make it straight. If you want. All I'm doing is rotating it right now. So when you get to this part right here, all you have to do is just hit that, the center one or whichever one. Do the one view or whatever view because it'll still snap because your snap tool is on. So you'll hit E and go down. You can rotate it. I'll probably leave it like that. I won't get into it too much. You can rotate the buckle. We'll do it like that. So I'm gonna go to the other side, do the same thing, hit E, bring it down. Let me bring it back up. And there you have it, the zipper piece. So with this tool, you can do different designs. There's the teeth type. You can change the color. There's a YouTube video that shows how to actually operate this. So you can use different, there's only 3. So if you want to do that one, you can do that one. I'm just going to keep it at the regular one. All right, so that's pretty much how you do the zipper. If I were to do this by hand, all it would be is just squares that are these look like squares. If you want to do them by hand, they're squares stacked together. Obviously put on the subdivision surface, and that's how you do that by hand if you want to do that. The zipper, same thing. This is a square. This is a square that's manipulated. This is all squares. It's pretty not that hard. Just working with your basic shapes. All right. So now what we're going to do here, we're going to make our chain part right here. So that's why I have that heart still out. And after this, we're pretty much done, you guys. Like I said, if you want to make that little cord piece, you can. Just remember, when you're making meshes from a reference, you don't have to do it exactly like the reference. That's where people might fail or feel like they're failing at. You're not failing. You don't have to do it exactly like, because this is not exactly like this. You make it your way and you make it better. Okay. So what you need to do, you actually need to convert this to a mesh now because it is a curve. So right click it, convert to mesh. Make sure your snapping tool is turned off because then you'll get glitches in your stuff. And then there you have it. Now, if you want to get into the fancies of it, go back into edit mode. You might want to set a different color to this if you want and do the rest metal. Up to you, doesn't matter. All right, so as you can see, my vertice count is high. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff going on this purse. But I'm not going to show how to get this down. Pretty much decimated. Depending on what game you're putting in, decimated. If you're putting in Second Life, I wouldn't even put this whole thing in. I would just build it in Second Life. So I'll probably just import it in pieces. That's how you get this stuff or big stuff and big items in Second Life. Import it in pieces and build it in Second Life. FiveM, obviously decimated. It's not like Second Life, so just do what you can. All right, so now we're gonna make this heart piece right here with the chains. Not sure what this is right here. I don't have a good view of it. I didn't see this, but this is optional. It looks like a heart. All right, so to make the chains, I'm just gonna make this bigger, push it back. I'm gonna scale it on the Y because it's not that thick. It's just a thin piece of thing. All right, then we're gonna rotate it, not perfectly. Move it forward. I'm gonna scale it down. And I'm just gonna rotate it. Pretty much to do like the chains or whatnot, all you gotta do is put in a Shift A mesh. I'm gonna put in a Taurus. This will be your chains. If you want to make more chains, you can do that. But guys, you're pretty much done. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop here, and I am going to, there's nothing else we can do to this purse. Like I said, if you want to build a strap, build the strap. If you want to put the metals in, make the metals. The metals would be like the Taurus I used. Um, and actually the Taurus can be shaped into this too as well. So I'm just gonna stop here. We did the modeling. The next video, I'm just going to go in and we're gonna do the stitching and the texturing to make this a little bit better.